Alright guys, so it's December, finally, and Cyberpunk is out. No more delays, it's out. Probably should have been delayed, but we got it. So, Cyberpunk week. Let's talk about this game and its impossibility to run on any hardware. So, we were trying to compare systems. We had our good old Intel test bench, and we have our good old AMD systems. And, just playing around and noticed something kind of funny. The game, I heard, runs better on more threads, so we checked how threads worked. And I'm not getting like half the utilization I should. So we looked into it. Gab, who do we find on Reddit? So coincidentally, we were just browsing r/AMD for non-biased reasons, of course. And we stumbled on a thread by Bramble XD, and he talked about the same problem, same issue. And he tried to do some patching stuff to see if he could maybe make it better. And then Unhinged Dork, however you want to call it, it's got two O's, linked us to a hex editor. So we can modify the exe file and try and see if we can force it to enable more cores. We changed like a 4 to a 3, and it looks like it's made a colossal difference in core utilization. So to test today, we're going to use my personal system, and it's a Ryzen 3600X. It's just a 3600 with, a few extra dollars added on. Because we know that that's pretty much the only recommendation you got for the last year or so whenever you asked, hey, what CPU do I get? 3600, 3600. So let's see if it makes a difference. Let's see if we're actually going to help improve the average common man's PC system. All right, so as you guys can see, I'm just playing some night driving with a legally acquired car. And my frame rate's like, wow, it actually dipped there. About 100-ish, give or take. And my GPU is like 60% utilization, 70 if we're doing good there. And my CPU is using only like a few of the cores. Like I've got a bunch of threads here. 1, 2, 3 threads that are basically idle, and then another 2 that are 40-ish%. So in summation, I'm definitely CPU bottlenecked here with a 3600X. This is the golden boy. With the 5700 XT, I'm not using a Titan. I'm not using a 3090. So why am I bottlenecked? When we tested on the Intel, we had no problems using all the threads. So let's go ahead and check the modified exe and see how that goes. Okay, so we've got the Reddit thread open here just to kind of take a look at what we need to do. You've got these strings here of hex code. I don't even know what to call it. You got these strings here of numbery gobbledygook that you're trying to edit to force the game to use more threads. To do that, you need a hex editor. So you literally Google hex editor and HXD comes up. So you download that, you install that. So let's open that. I already have that downloaded. So when you're in HXD, you have to go and open up the Cyberpunk exe file. And you got to be careful because there's a launcher file that you might mistake. So I click on open, and I'm already here basically. You go to, let's navigate for it. Go to your C drive, program files x86, Steam, steamapps, common, Cyberpunk. Now here's the problem here. You look at this RAD pre-launcher and you think that's it. It's just the launcher. You need to change the exe for the game. So you go down to bin x64, and then you have this Cyberpunk 2077 exe application that you can modify. Open it up, and my lord, what is all of this? What am I looking at? How do I find like eight lines here? Control F. So you go to the Reddit thread, you copy the first one, not the second one. I did that earlier, it doesn't work. And you search for it, and here we go. So he gives you this whole long string here, but that's just to make sure you find the exact piece of code you're changing. You're really only changing that 75 to a 74. Just kind of, uh-oh. It's really hard to do. 74, there. Then you go ahead and save it. Actually, to roll back, please back up your first file. So you go to the same directory, C, Steam program files, x86, Steam apps, common, Cyberpunk, bin, x86, 64. So you go in there and you make a copy. So I made a copy called patched, you just make a copy called original, and you switch them around, and you're fine. So do that, save it, and I'm not saving it because I already did that earlier. Then ridge. So to sum up, you physically go to the Steam folder there, the bin, x86, all that. You make a copy of your original. Maybe copy it to your desktop, copy it to my just copy it somewhere so you still have the original. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time if you typo. Then you open up Xeditor, you go ahead, you change the hex with the Reddit thread, and you're good to go. So let's launch Cyberpunk. All right, so we're back in Cyberpunk, and you look, and you can see our CPU usage is a fair bit higher. It's not maxed all the way, and I'm just going to leave that to us alpha testing the game on release. But our GPU usage is a little bit higher, our CPU is a bit higher, and my frame rate feels a little bit higher, like maybe 10, 15 higher, but it's not a ton. It's an interesting video nonetheless. This is very interesting to see, very cool to see that they screwed us over. And I'm sure this would have a much bigger impact if for some reason you bought a lower tier, not the Golden Boy 3600 CPU. So if you have like a 3400G and you slap a GPU on there, or you found the mythical 3300X, maybe that would help. Or you're crazy enough to run it on an Athlon or something. Stick around for that. I might be crazy enough for that. But yeah, I mean, it helps a little bit. Actually, it might help a lot in laptops because they have lower core clocks. So using more core, more better. Wow, though. Seriously, look at that difference in utilization. Like the GPU is a little bit more in use, but the CPU is definitely doing better. Okay, throw up a side by side. This is insane. Like it really doesn't seem like it's done much for performance. I'm at 720p, but still, that's a lot more usage. This is cool. This is actually really cool stuff. The guy in the thread also talks about patching something with the exe to use a different redistributable package, but I've heard mixed things about that, and I just don't want to bother. All right, guys, so that's it for our day one video here. This is our Cyberpunk week. We're really hyped about this game, honestly. We're so excited. So we're going to be posting a lot more videos right now on this and our usual nonsense. So make sure you can like, you comment, you subscribe, you tell your friends, you tell your family, you tell your coworkers, you tell your neighbor. Just talk to people, tell about us. We're trying. And let us know if we could try harder. We'll see you next time, and more Cyberpunk.